And every time I am in Houston, Texas, I am reminded of my own childhood. Looking upon the countenance of Pastor Cedric Robbins always brings me back to my days off of 610 and North Wayside. I don't care what you tell me, no matter how grown I get, no matter how many continents the Lord allows my feet to trod. When I come to Houston, Texas, I'm reminded of where the Lord brought me from. I'm born April the 9th, 1966, and by the social standards given by sociologist Dr. Michael Eric Dyson, I am what you would call old school. Many people who claim to be old school do not meet the old school standards. You are too young, or you don't really understand the genre and the typology of what it means to be old school. For those of you who think it's a mystery, it's not. It's a history. You have to understand it. And so to be old school suggests several things. Number one, it suggests that if you were told to do something, you didn't have options thereafter. Parents said things one time, and if you did not start moving, they were not going to count to 10, they were going to lay hands on you, drop you right where you were, and then make sure you were down for a 10 count. If you are old school, then you certainly understand the ramifications of addressing an adult with a title attached. Couldn't call an adult by their first name. Had to say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. If you are old school, then you can certainly remember walking out to a bush to get a switch for yourself. Pray to God that they never ever move that, because there is something sacred and sacerdotal about the walk itself. Knowing that if you come back with a twig, they're going to cut down a tree. You are old school if you can remember playing outside. Baseball, during baseball season. Pastor Cedric Robbins, a beer can, that was home plate. Parked LTD, that's first base. Second base, Pontiac down here on flat, been there 10 years. Third base, a tree in somebody else's front yard. You are old school if you can be playing football during football season. Touch on the street, tackle in the, got somebody with me now. Touch on the street, tackle in the grass. Remember playing things like Simon Says, red light, green light, hide and go seek. You know, it was games that we played. And you know you are old school if you can't remember playing games on the inside of the house. It's interesting because if it rained outside, there was some games you could play inside. It's deep because, Pastor Hilliard, so much happened on the inside of the house. If you got sick, we didn't have money for NyQuil or Comtrex. Somebody would make you a hot toddy. I wish I had a praying church. Didn't have money for anything else. Hot toddy was a concoction where they would boil lemons and garlic tips and some onion and boil that till it almost dissipated, and they'd had a brown paper bag bottle in the back of the can. They'd take some of that and pour that in that pot with a shot of honey. Make you drink, somebody old school, make you drink that down, lay you under heavy quilts, and you sweat all night long. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Old school, where you could play as long as it was raining. But if it started to thunder and lightning, then they would make you sit down on the couch. They would cover up the mirrors and the windows, turn off the component set, and they'd say, shh, the Lord is doing his business. But if it was not thundering and lightning, you could play games on the inside. Checkers. That means if I get to your back row, you got a king. Oh no. Draw four and be quiet. Jacks. Some of y'all way too young for that. I realize that's old school. But jacks is this little game with these little steel pegs. And if you leave one on the floor, Reverend Joshua Daniels, and somebody steps on it, they're going to talk in tongues. And Pastor Robbins, you had to work your way through. You had your onesies and your twosies and your threesies. But the game I love, Dr. Stan Hilliard, was the game of spades. Some of y'all too holy to play cards. I can tell I'm offending y'all now. Just know this from my heart, I ain't always been saved. And even now, I like to play. You see, spades is an interesting game because when you get your hand, if you know how to work it, you can work that thing. Every now and then, Reverend McNeil, you get a hand where you'd be trump tight. Let me explain. See, that means you got the high joke, the low joke, the ace of spades. Somebody with me. King of spades, queen of spades, jack of spades, ten of spades. It's one of those hands when you just talk trash the whole time. And there were moments where you wouldn't get a hand like that. You don't get a hand like that after every deal. Sometimes you'd have to make a jack walk the tape. Sometimes you could tell them, I see two and a possible one. Depends on who's cutting what I got in my hand. I wish I had a praying church today.